and also Republican Congressman Tom Cole. Welcome to you both.
Good morning. Good morning, Representative Cole.
Good morning.
All right, Congresswoman Moore, I'll start with you. Is this a game of chicken that is once again coming down to the wire? Who's to blame?
Well, I can tell you it's really no game at all. I don't think anybody wants the government to shut down. But personally, as a person who's going to cast a vote, I don't think that I have to have a Faustian choice between cutting billions of dollars of desperately needed services. Most economists agree that if H.R. 1 were put into place, these cuts would amount to, and I don't think that that's a real choice for me.
All right, and just to clarify for folks who don't know, H.R. 1 is the bill that passed through primarily on Republican votes through the House that would cut $61 billion of funding moving forward. We're just talking about the measure to get us funded through September 30th, end of the current fiscal year. Congressman Cole, I want to ask you about this back and forth that we hear there's a deal. There are negotiations that are going on in Washington and across the country with our leaders. Initially when the GOP came in offering cuts, it was about $32 billion, $33 billion. Democrats are saying now that they're offering you $33 billion, close to that $32 million Republicans initially wanted, why can't you make a deal?
Well, of course, we're here because the Democrats didn't get their work done last year, never passed a budget, never passed any appropriations bills. And frankly, we're here right now because the Senate hasn't gotten its job done. The House has passed a bill which keeps the government open, reduces spending substantially by $61 billion. We think that's the way we ought to go. Now, having said that, we're still waiting, really, for the Senate to actually give us a concrete offer. So, I think the negotiations are good. I hope we can avoid it. As Speaker Boehner said, our aim is to reduce spending, not to shut down the government. But the only reason why we're even close to that is because my friends on the other side of the aisle didn't do their job last year and so far haven't done it this year.
All right, Congresswoman Moore, let me ask you, the White House said yesterday in a statement that basically it's encouraging illogical debates right now where you're trying to iron out funding. Are you worried, as the White House seems to be, that some of the ideological issues may be a stall here, things about funding Planned Parenthood, the EPA, and other issues along those lines as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think that that's a non-starter to have these budget writers be a part of the debate. I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that people are ignoring with respect to reducing the deficit and even reforming entitlements because of these ideological debates, these set numbers of cuts that need to be made. Most people agree, whether you agree with abortion or not. I think most reasonable Americans believe that we ought to have birth control. That's just common sense. With respect to reforming entitlements, I think we can do that without rationing health care. So I'm very, very concerned about some of the provisions that we're probably going to see on Tuesday with respect to making Medicaid a voucher, really putting a lot of seniors in nursing homes at great risk. I could think of $500 billion cuts right now by just simply limiting reimbursements to pharmacies and negotiating with them on price and putting the Affordable Care Act into place to really bend the cost curve of health care. But many of these ideological debates that say that, we can't take monies away from pharmaceutical companies or insurance companies, or we can't raise revenues, will really stand in the way of a good agreement.
All right, Congressman Cole, very quickly, I want to give you the final word here.
Well, frankly, when you spend money, ideology is always involved because you make choices about what you're spending the money on. So I think some of these debates are legitimate, particularly where the EPA is concerned. Some of the so-called riders passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. That is, there were dozens of Democrats that think the EPA is going way too far in its effort to regulate so-called greenhouse gases. So I think some of these things are on the table. But again, I agree with my friend Gwen Moore that we need to negotiate a settlement. Our aim, again, is just to simply reduce spending, keep the government running, and then move on to the bigger debate, which I think will start on Tuesday, about America's future. We've got to get entitlement spending under control, or we'll never balance the budget.
Yes, and of course Tuesday is when we get the budget looking forward from the GOP side for 2012. We know you still have to iron out 2011, so good luck to you both. We thank you both for your time, Congresswoman Moore, Congressman Cole.
Thank you.
And thank you.
All right, let's check back in now with Casey Stegall. He's been following all the latest